Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome back. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. We're a day behind to talk about the week of AEW from last week. Oh, wow. It has been a long time since I've seen most of you out there. Professor, you're looking better than you ever have, being fully rainbowed up. But we also have Adolfo and Alice. We've got Mikey, and we've got myself, JVL, here to talk over the week in AEW with you, our lovely BC WrestlePod fam. If you haven't joined us before, welcome to our stream. We're so excited to have you here. We're going to talk about our opinions of the last week of AEW. We'd love to have you drop your stuff in the chat as well. We've had some really engaged people the last couple of weeks, so it's great to have more to do with that. If this is your first time, if you haven't subscribed to us already, please jump on, subscribe to our channels on all the different social media there at BC WrestlePod, Biconics Wrestling Podcast, all that good stuff. And click that alert bell because honestly, we just want to yell at you that we're doing new stuff and you come see it with us. We're also excited because we have merch, which is amazing. I still have to get my squat shirt because obviously it's been a year. I should probably get that at some point. And we also have a Patreon, which we're going to be putting some stuff up on there because we're going to have a watch along this weekend, right, Mikey, for All Out? Is that correct?
Yes, we are going to have a watch along. We are including 0 Hour in our watch along. So if you want to join us for it, you can tune in at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which would be 7 p.m. Eastern. I can do the math, I promise. And we're going to have a little fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. So make sure you're tuning to the socials, though, for the rules of the watch along, because obviously we're not trying to get copyright striked, so we can't show the actual pay-per-view. But I have magical ways that you can support the company and support all the wrestlers that are in said company to do the watch along. Trust me, free trials are an amazing thing. You should probably invest in that.
I love the free trials. And thank you, Mikey, for that pitch. As I said before, we're going to be going through the week before of AEW. So this would be the August 28th Dynamite, and then the August, I believe, 30th and September 1st. Rampage and Collision. Yeah, so we're going to be doing the last bit of there leading into All Out, although we're the go-home shows this week, so it'll be fun that way. And just kind of give our opinions on it, how we're doing with it, and where we think AEW could do better, where they could do worse, where they could honestly just really work on their entire presentation, because that's where we need to be. One other thing at the top that I want to bring up, and Mikey, this has been bothering me now for about a month, and I've just finally put the nail, I've hit the nail on the head finally. I understand now why I get nostalgic when I hear our intro for this stream every time.
Why do you say that?
This is a ripoff of every Dynasty Warriors music that I've heard in every one of those games. It's that guitar solo, it's all that stuff, and I love it to death. Thank you for touching into my beat 'em up heart there. So that's just a whole sidebar that's been bothering me for a while. All right. Since I am on first right here, I am going to jump into Dynamite. I do not have the professor with me, but I do have Mikey who watched it as well. So I may bump off you a couple times there.
What?
What? You're not chopped liver. I have you. You're always here. That you get to touch everything. That's the problem. The professor and I are specialized. You have your fingers in everything. That's what you've got. But
praising. I want to keep my job.
You create the job. It's nothing else we can do about this. Let's talk about Dynamite, though. So this week, as with kind of the last couple of weeks, I'm a little more wanted to dive into the big themes of what came up there as we're jumping into another pay-per-view very quickly. And I'd love to get perspective from you two, Alice and Adolfo, as well, on some of the stuff that happened, because obviously it's been out there affecting Collision and Rampage as we've been going along. But Mikey, Jon Moxley, who we thought might make an appearance in the last couple of weeks, was coming into, come back to us from whatever hiatus he finally got that he deserved 2 years later. But he's not back as the Jon Moxley we remember. He's back with his Death Rider intro. He cut a very kind of interesting promo with Tony Schiavone in the ring. And I don't know, explain this to me. There has been a tease that he may be bringing someone else back with him to the company. I don't see where the seeds of this are being planted, especially because of the fact that his relationship to said person never was good in the first place. So why would he want to work with him?
I'm really hoping it's just a rumor. I hope it's like not gonna actually happen.
Can you fill us in on said rumor?
Okay, so we're just gonna talk about the elephant in the room. So there has been some speculation, and not to step on JBL's toes, but even later in the evening, Mox having Marina Shafir teaming with him now as part of whatever this is For one, I love Marina, and I'm glad to see her on AEW. It makes me sad, though, which means she's probably getting yanked from ROH. So once again, we don't have anything else, but we don't have... They keep pulling the ROH down, but that's neither here nor there. The rumor is that Mox has started a new faction away from BCC, so Blackpool Combat Club. And he's starting a new faction. It seems like it's going to be him, Marina Shafir. I'm still 50-50 on whatever way it can go, because he also, Mox in his promo said he needs to talk to Darby for whatever reason. So we don't know if Darby's on the hit list or he's going to be on the, part of the team. But the heavily speculated rumor is that Mox's new faction is building towards this like inner turmoil, like Civil War-esque like levels of professional wrestling, where it's not just brand versus brand. It's like literally kind of a rehash of what we got with Blood and Guts, Team AEW and Team Elite. Would you just substitute Team Elite with Mox, Marina Shafir, and supposedly one Shane McMahon?
Yeah.
That's the heavily speculated rumor that Shane's going to be involved in this and he's going to appear. And I'm just like, no, there's not enough positivity, even from Simon Miller, that can save us now.
And that's what gets me, is that Moxley never had a good relationship with Shane, both in real life and in kayfabe, back when he was Dean Ambrose. Why would he tie his horse to him now, or be forced by the company to take him on, when even like, Marina Shafir was also in the Fed previously, but I don't see them as anything to do with that. I see them as kind of like creating a full-on shoot, pure rules, blood sport fight club aspect of this. And as we all know, Shane McMahon is the best fight club fighter that we know, but that's been proven, but we don't need him, I don't think. And so that's what's bothering me on that one. I don't know what you two think about this with him coming into AEW, whether he's a cancer in the first place or even needs to be there.
The whole Shane McMahon stuff, I thought it was squashed. So this is a big surprise to me. No, I don't think he's needed in AEW. And if his like guest spot in WrestleMania 39 was any indication of, he jumps up in the ring and like pulls both hamstrings or whatever the hell it is, like, no, just like, we're good. We don't need to go back to the 90s. We don't need to go back to the early thousands. We're good.
And yet Tony Khan has a meeting with him, is talking to him. He wants to come over there. I don't think we need more McMahons going to other places right now.
Yeah, no. I don't see the angle.
So, I have one more thing to note with this too, because that's the storyline aspect, and I still don't like the idea of Shane in AEW. But also the other thing that is that not in storyline, this will be kind of dividing the AEW roster to sides. But there's also the second heavy rumor that if Shane ends up coming in here doing this story on television, this is a mechanical way of splitting the rosters down the line. So you will have folks on Dynamite and folks on Collision. So the other rumor is that this is going to have a quote unquote brand split. I don't believe it 100%, but honestly, if minus the Shane aspect, I've been calling for a brand split between Dynamite and Collision for the longest time, because to me, there are certain stars that scream Dynamite, there are stars that seem Collision, and then you just make Rampage where everybody meets in the middle to hash things out from both sides. So that's the other thing that's part of this rumor, is that Dynamite and Collision are looking to split the rosters.
Isn't that already the case though? Just having, it's not really, even though we don't see a lot of crossover from them.
Well,
there's not a lot, but there is still crossover.
I guess I only watch one of the three shows, I don't see it as much on my end, but then again, I don't know what's going on in the other ones anyways. I mean, there's already a kind of a division within the AEW fans of who watches what and who can watch all three. So I don't know.
So I think the problem is that Dynamite is being overloaded because that's where the majority of your champions and storylines are coming from. And Collision is unfortunately being treated like the B show right now because
Yeah.
you rarely have any of your you rarely have any of the champs show up. And to me, Collision, if we're gonna do a roster split, like I'm not saying it has to be 100% of the time, but can we split the championships in half? Like half of the championships go to Dynamite, half of the championships go to Collision, because you're very and again, this is just the business person in me. Like, branding is important. You want championships to be like, when people think of Dynamite, I'm like, oh, okay, that's home of the world title, you know, the women's title, like the TNT championship. And then Collision can be like, oh, that's where all the tag titles are, like the TBS championship. So giving more identity to the championships would be important. But all to accompany us back to what started this, no Shane McMahon. Weird John Moxley. I like Marina Shafir. Don't know if Darby's on the hit list or about to join the cause, so we shall see.
I'm also mad that Marina Shafir has been taken as well from us on ROH. I think we deserved her more than anything else, but nothing we can do about that. In terms of the next bit there, we have Willow Nightingale finally announcing what her stipulation is going to be against Chris Statlander, and of course, announcing that it's going to be a Chicago street fight, and who has had the most street fights and street fight wins in AEW but Willow Nightingale. I think she's losing, but that's beside the point.
Yep.
As somebody who reveals CMLL, and we talked about this last week, Willow worded it really weirdly. She's like, this match is happening at All Out because CMLL wouldn't even sanction this match. And I was like, well, no, duh. CMLL doesn't do street fights like that, but you have everybody defying gravity and all laws of physics, so makes sense. Right. But I'm just like, yeah, I hate how we're building this. I still don't think Willow should have won at Wembley. I think Chris should have won, because if they're gonna I like Chris, but it kind of sucks because then if Willow loses his title, that means this is all it was transitional championship, and I hate it. It.
Also, really quick, the CMLL championship should be held at Mexico City.
100%. Or Guadalajara, one of the two.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
this match is gonna slap though.
It's gonna slap.
The match is gonna be great.
I just think that we kind of see where it needs to go, and if it doesn't go there, is it going to be worthwhile for the participants if we don't have the result that everyone's extremely wanting at this point, basically, because it just drags things out again for another month. One thing that I haven't seen a lot in AEW, maybe I've missed it on occasion, I want to ask you too about this as well. I haven't seen a lot of matches defined by one move. Usually there's a couple, there's spots, everything else. Ishii versus Hangman Page is all about Ishii spiking himself on that DDT on the apron and basically freezing in time, how he just didn't move. He became an upended fence pole that didn't move at all because of no neck. Was there anything else out of this match that we remember before Swerve came out to talk to him? Or was that just kind of the definition of we forget how good Ishii can sell, basically?
This is the Ishii I need to see all the time. Oh, Ishii, my little AEW Goomba looking mother. I love you, Ishii.
Nice job.
But yeah, so I'm just like, I like Ishii. This does remind me of why I liked Ishii to begin with. And of course, once I saw this on paper, I'm like, oh yeah, Hangman's gonna win. But good on you, Ishii. You made it more enjoyable and more fun and less felt one-sided than I thought it was gonna be originally. But yeah, the match was fun. It's what happens afterwards. I think that's important for this weekend, but we'll get to there. We'll get to there.
Especially because Swerve comes out to then talk about the fact that exposing to everyone else why Hangman Page was on a family leave, that he had another kid, and he's again turning into the Joker to Hangman's Batman.
Okay. So I want to talk about this because this is how. So we just saw Swerve go full heel by stomping Bryan in front of his children at London. And then Swerve is kind of pulling it back a little bit, still being a little bit of a heel, but like in the tweener role, talking about like what kind of man do you want to be to your kids and everything. I'm like, sir, we got to pick a side at least for like a good 2 weeks. You can't be stomping Bryan's head like 1 week and then like having a heart-to-heart to Hangman the next. I'm like, what is this? You can't. I know everybody wants to be like in between and be, don't pick full heel or full face, but I'm like, we got to pick a side when it comes to certain things. You can't keep flip flopping like pancakes out here. It frustrates me because then I'm like, so you're just going to do whatever you feel is par for the course and what is right for you. That's cool and everything, but I need you to pick a side because Swerve has played being in the middle for a good couple of months now since winning this title. He went to the heel side when he stomped Bryan's face in, but now he's pulling it back a little bit to go back into between. No, fool, go full heel. If somebody's going to be a face in this feud, Hangman makes a lot of sense to be a face because when Hangman was heel, we saw it. I did not believe him. Hangman's not a good heel, you guys. I'm sorry. But again, I want them to pick a side.
I agree with you. The Hangman in general needs to be defined. And unfortunately, he's been defined by Swerve 3 out of 4 times the last times he's been around. And he has more in him, but it seems like Swerve is the only one that's defined him for about a year. Is this the end of the blood feud? Do we think this is what this is going to be? Or are we just extending it again and again and again for more clout with those two? How do you two feel about this? Because it's going to spill over to you guys at some point.
I'll let you go.
I don't know. Feels tired. Feels like we already did this. I do want full heel Swerve. I really enjoyed the tweener Swerve that we got, but now that he doesn't have the championship, I think we can really and like you said, he stomped Bryan Danielson's face in front of his family. That's pretty definitively heel. So lean into it, go all the way. And I didn't see Hangman a lot. So I don't know about his heel work, but I think we need Swerve to lean more into the heel for him to come through as a face for me. Because I think he's very tweener also, Hangman.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off that, Alice, and we'll talk about it more when we get into our predictions for All Out. There is one person in this match that needs to win because Hangman has never won against Swerve in the previous encounters that they had. And to me, Hangman needs this win. I feel like Swerve can take the loss, but Hangman needs this win.
I agree.
I disagree.
You can't have Hangman go. You want Hangman to go 0-4? What?
Yes. I want this to be a thing now because he's gotten the 0-3, and they decided to keep running this back. I need Swerve to continue to beat him at every step of their relationship. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. You can't do this. No matter how far ahead you get, I will always be in your head. I will be there. Get it to 6-0. Get it to 7-0. Not in this year, but over the next couple of years, so that when he finally does pull it out, it is humongous. Because either he had to win to keep it even, or he's got to lose a bunch to him, build up his resume, win a title here, there. But the one thing that he's never done is beat Swerve. Make it 4-0 against Hangman. Make it keep going. That's the thing he holds over him. He's the Joker to his Batman.
I'm on JBL's side on this. I enjoy Swerve as an agent of chaos, being a small agent of chaos myself. I don't mind him swerving, as it were, to heel and then kind of babyface and then heel and then kind of babyface, you know what I mean? And I'm fully on board for Swerve owning Adam Page until 2 years, 3 years from now, when we get Swerve versus Hangman part 12 and Hangman actually pulls it out. You know what I mean? I think that would be a good build up. I don't like aggro Page. I know
angry hangers.
Yeah,
Page is angry.
Angry Page.
I've seen, now mind you, I don't go on the on the tweet twit thing, right?
Redacted.
I'm a Threads person. But the conversation on wrestling threads has been mostly positive about Aggro Page. So like I'm not hip with it. But if that's what the fans want, I mean, that's maybe what we'll keep seeing. I would love to see a Hangman Adam Page get beat by Swerve and come back, come back as like an Avenger and start going after the EVPs and the Rainmaker and all that. Like, I think that is where the bulk of the story's at.
Oh,
Yeah.
I definitely think that Hangman will be going after Okada before the year is over. I'll wait until we get to All In predictions because I don't disagree with you, JVL and Adolfo, about watching Swerve and Hangman fight and Hangman to continue to lose. But I'll go into more detail because AEW's problem is when they do something like this, they don't space it out. They're like, we'll do this, and then next pay-per-view, and then next pay-per-view, and then it runs out of steam before it even starts. But we'll talk about that later.
All I see in my head is like, Hangman breaks away from Swerve at this point. He goes after Okada, ends up beating him, and as soon as he beats him on that pay-per-view, you just see Swerve walking out and slow clapping. Like, well done. You did it. Good for you. And then just leaving and not challenging to a fight, nothing else. Just, I own a piece of real estate in your head. I'm never leaving until you beat me. Either way, we then get my favorite part of the night, but that's because I'm biased, because I love Jamie Hayter, even though it was a terrible squash and everything else. Jamie Hayter back in the ring, actually having a match, sort of, with Harley Cameron. And you know what? I was told that Harley Cameron could wrestle. Couldn't tell from this match. She got completely steamrolled by Jamie Hayter.
That's a shame.
But that's because partially Saraya threw Harley at her.
It was so funny
from Jamie Hayter, because as we came to remember, Saraya was part of the group and Harley was not part of the group at the time, but what it was, the Outcasts were the kayfabe reason that Jamie got injured and lost her title, and so Saraya is her first target, going after her. So this just furthers them getting to the next part. I think at All Out it's going to be Saraya versus Jamie Hayter in a blood feud match, I'm assuming with thumbtacks involved. But I'm here for it because she's one of my favorite wrestlers, and her merch is on the way to my house at this point because I said the minute she's back, I'm buying more of her merch. So
hell yeah, I'd love to see that.
We then get MJF renouncing his American citizenship because he lost.
Oh my god.
And going off on a tangent. I don't know.
I commented to Alice that it would have been fantastic if he denounced his American citizenship and said that he was becoming a citizen of MJFistan or something like that, some crackpot made up nation, that like it involves just him.
And wherever he is. Yeah.
I mean, sure.
Exactly.
So
he himself is a sovereign nation.
Yeah.
Yes. He lives in international waters around himself.
Exactly.
What's up, Mike?
So here's the thing, right? So I do appreciate, because my biggest fear is that they were going to run MJF and Will back again really quickly. I'm like, don't do this. I was like, let's take a breather. I will say, I think MJF's promo and kind of getting lost in the madness that is a man with nothing to lose at this point. By the way, I saw on Twitter, it was hilarious that, in kayfabe, they're like, oh, Daniel Garcia, and we'll talk about it during the promo, Daniel Garcia pawned MJF's ring off. Come to find out, his ring actually got stolen when they were in London, so he legitimately does not have the diamond ring anymore.
Yeah, this was a way to explain it away, but also show. I love when AEW does this and has it like, I paid for my own plane ticket to get across the world just to punch you in the face.
That was an AJ Styles situation this year. That man flew all the way to Melbourne to punch LA Knight in the face.
Yep.
With a chair, actually. But
I'm looking forward to this rivalry in this match. This is going to be amazing. I want Daniel Garcia to stretch MJF, but although I got to ask, can MJF take another loss after having just come back from injury, or does he need this win?
he doesn't need this win. MJF is going to be fine. Like, to me, it depends, because we still haven't heard word if Daniel Garcia has re-signed with AEW. That's still up in the limbo. I would prefer to see Daniel Garcia win, but if we wanted to do a rubber match down the road, I don't mind MJF beating him here, and then ultimately Daniel gets the victory at the end of the rubber match for whatever this is. All I know is that this is probably one of my top matches that I'm looking forward to at All Out. I was like, oh, this is going to be good, because MJF is going to have to figure something out, because Daniel Garcia is going to stretch that man 2 ways from Sunday.
If MJF loses, I feel it would work if that feeds into his lunacy. Like, if he continues doing this whole unhinged, characterization, if he loses to Daniel Garcia, like, if that feeds into that, I think that would be good.
I agree. Mikey, I'm just saying a little bit back. I want to go back to the Jon Moxley thing for a second, because David brought up a good point. Do we think that the Hurt Business is going to invade AEW soon? I think instead of Shane McMahon, this is where Jon Moxley would thrive, is bringing the Hurt Business along with him and Marina and everyone else as shoot legit fighters to come in and wreck house. That's where I want it to be. I think that'd be a better way than having Shane McMahon come along.
That is the big talk that all the members of the Hurt Locker were signing up with AEW. So
not all of them,
not all, but remember, the original person they wanted in it is already there.
Yeah,
right.
Ricochet when they were in WWE. So
the only people that would be there would be Mr. Bobbles Lashley himself, MVP. And of course, you would have Shelton Benjamin, because the other person that was in what we got in the Hurt Business, Cedric, is still at WWE and he's on NXT right now.
Right, but Ricochet was supposed to be in that role that Cedric
had,
so you'd have the original lineup. I think it'd be much more interesting to watch that work together that way, and have Moxley again part of another group of just folks that want to wreck house. So David, I think that would be a lot more fun to have there. And here's also, I think, right, if Garcia hasn't signed, he's going to TNA at some point to face Joe Hendry and have fun with that.
Oh, Joe Hendry's cool and everything, but like, if Daniel Garcia goes to TNA, there is one matchup that needs to happen that is at the top of my list, and that is Daniel Garcia versus Mr. Mike Santana. Like, that match would slap. Oh, that would be so good. Check out our TNA reviews on Fridays.
There you go. But the reason I'm talking about our comments here is that I'm skipping over the next match, which is the 8-man tag match, which is just FTW in the world versus everybody else. This wasn't needed. This furthered nothing. Large William, got his little bit in there, but honestly, this wasn't funny. It wasn't good. And Hook decided to come out and get involved with Jericho. It's just, I thought we were done. We were done.
Remember, the rule in AEW is that if you end up in the Chris Jericho black void, you will never truly be free.
Yep.
But the other thing I wanted to bring up, we talked about this off air. Alice and Adolfo, we definitely talked about this, how even though the next 2 segments were horrendous and they're the same segment for both people, it allowed us to have 3 women's segments on AEW Dynamite, although they had the same segment back to back and not really necessary, as we had the celebration of Mercedes Moné, celebrating her win, and having Okada walk in while Private Party was at the party with her. And that was the only funny part, was funny Okada, which I love.
Yeah,
Okada doing the dance was hilarious.
Yes, but then that's followed directly after with Mariah May's announcement of a celebration, because these people didn't deserve it, and yet she still strips off most of her clothing to show off her title. It's like, I don't get why they needed to have both of this for both titles. There is no story here. This is exploitation, at least in my eyes. I don't know about everyone else here when you saw this stuff going on.
We could have had one of them on Collision. Sorry, Alice.
It's okay. I think they should have split up the celebrations, but I think what Mariah May is kind of leaning into is like the bombshell blonde, the way, the sexy lamp, the way that the women actress was, or and still is arguably, right, that they're just eye candy. And so I think she's kind of leaning into that stereotype. She's been doing that for a while now. And she is a woman who commits to the bit. And I applaud her for that. Do I like it? No, not necessarily. But I do think she's following the trend that Toni Storm started of finding stereotypes in cinema and really leaning into them.
I definitely could see that. And she is still playing up that part with Toni Storm. What's up, Adelpha?
I just want to speak to the Mercedes Moné spot, which I saw on social media. It was weak. But the thing that angered me the most was when you watch her spot after her title defense at Capital Collision, which was also this past weekend. That was a great spot. She didn't have any of that fanfare. She didn't have any of that nonsense. She was talking and showed that yes, she can do spots. She commented on how I forgot the name of the Stardom person she was wrestling, but how she hit her so hard her eyelash came off.
Yeah.
But it was a good spot. So it next to the CEO spot that we saw on Dynamite and that we're seeing on social media, it's infuriating. It is very infuriating.
100%. And
so
kind of buried over that too. But yes, go ahead, Mike.
So Adolfo, the name of the person that faced for Mercedes' title was Momo Watanabe.
Right.
So shout out to you, Momo. We love you. Also, by the way, if y'all need to go see the Hiromu Takahashi Mustafa Ali match, that match was amazing.
We're promoting all over the place here. I'm trying to get through Dynamite as quick as I can yet because we have a lot to get to for the other shows. Grizzly Young Veterans basically told us what we thought they would, which is they're going to be coming to get those titles as soon as they can and facing someone on Rampage, which they ended up doing. I wanted more of a promo from them, but obviously we didn't get it because we had a lot more to get to, including my match of the night, Ricochet versus Kyle Fletcher, because this was every beat that I wanted to see all over the place. These two started off with Matrix-style moves and did not stop. And Kyle tried his best to outsmart Ricochet, and it didn't end up working. Mikey, with this one, is this them previewing what could be coming with Ospreay, or was this good on its own as Ricochet going, I'm here to showcase what I could have done, but I've been held back for 5 years?
I thought this was a good match. I didn't think it was my match of the night.
Interesting.
So I have to retune my brain a little bit because now that Ricochet is in AEW, he is able to do more than what he was able to before. So I have to retrain my brain a little bit, and I think I'll get there. It was a very interesting clash of styles because Ricochet is usually normally his high-flying self, and then Kyle Fletcher. To me, Kyle Fletcher is very adaptive. Like, he has his style, but he is able to adapt to his opponent very well, which is why he's one of my favorite professional wrestlers out there right now. But I thought it was a pretty good match. I didn't think it was super spectacular. It did get a little sloppy for me towards the middle, but, you could overlook it because I love seeing Ricochet in AEW. I think it's fantastic. My only worry is, and this is not a knock on Ricochet, this is a knock on how we do everything because it's the same song and dance. Some people are still succeeding, others have not. But anytime Tony Khan signs a new wrestler and they're the next hottest thing, they will get hot-shotted to a title, lose, and then they will hopefully, if they're lucky enough, they don't get lost in the purgatory of mid-card.
Luckily, but luckily right now with him, he's not going to, because we already know from the thing that happened at the end, he's not going anywhere near one Ospreay at all, which is great. Don't put them together yet. You got to build that up more and give that time. And he's not going for a title. Pac blindsides Will Ospreay, who's about to congratulate Ricochet on the ramp, and says, "Don't forget about the bastard." These two have had battles in WWE, and this is going to be amazing going into the next big thing here. Anyone else excited for Pac versus Ricochet?
I am.
That would be hot. That would
And
be hot.
obviously, Kyle Fletcher did something right to impress whoever backstage, because he gets a Continental Championship match against Okada tomorrow, I should say.
Exactly. We then talked about what happened backstage with Marina Shafir and John Moxley. As we said, let's hope it's the Hurt Business. That would be a lot more fun. And finally, our champion, Bryan Danielson, Daniel, comes out to thank the fans, let them know that now it's an open challenge to anybody in the back until I lose this title, and that's when I'll retire. But I had a great time with this as well. And he gets blindsided by the scapegoat Jack Perry as his first contender. I got to ask about this. Ollie Davis brought this up on Wrestle Talk, and this is for everyone here. So Danielson had announced that he's doing an open challenge, and so we get the video package from Jack Perry responding to him. And then he comes out of the crowd, has teleportation powers to then show up and beat up Danielson. So did he then have the power of foresight to know that Danielson was going to put this out there so he could prepare for this? Or does Jack just have a catalog of videos he's made for any contingency plan of people to saying anything on stage just to distract them to come out and beat them up?
He pre-taped that one, because he got tired of Taco Bell interrupting his promos.
He is a broody, angry, sad boy who has nothing else to do but make angry promos for every single contingency, so he can just put one up and be like, "Ha! I knew it."
I think
that's what he does. He spends his time in the dark, brooding and thinking about what evil video can I make next. What?
I think he's Schrodinger's Perry. Everywhere but nowhere.
The door is over there.
I'm gonna get a little hate for this though, and I know that I'm with Simon Miller on this. I'm excited for this pairing. Yeah. Whether he beats him or not, there's been a lot of hate on a lot of the wrestling stuff about Jack Perry being this, like, why him? Why this? I can't stand. If you want Danielson to start putting over young people on the way out and give them time to sit with them, work with a person, and actually get through this, Jack Perry is the perfect sponge to take all this in, and the perfect whiny heel to take him on. And maybe, from everything that's going on, it looks like he's set to steal his Busaiku knee. That's going to be Perry's new, basically, coming out of this.
That'd be amazing. I think Bryan Danielson, Bryan, all the Danielson Bryans in the world, like, if you want to, I think his next two opponents are lined up very perfectly just for him to defend his title over the next couple weeks. We get Jack Perry, who is still a young star, will get to be this match. I would be remiss. I'm pretty sure this will probably main event All Out. Who knows? Because it is the World Championship, but who knows? We have seen crazier things happen. But Jack Perry being able to get this spot, I think, is fantastic. Obviously, we don't think Danielson is losing to Jack Perry, but putting this man over is the important thing too, because, going into this, Perry is the only person to deliver Darby a loss in any coffin match in Darby's career. They said it, at Wembley, that Jack Perry is the only person to hand a loss to Darby in Darby's own creation of coffin matches. Speaking of Darby, because once we're done with All Out, we got like 2-3 weeks, and then we're at Grand Slam where Darby gets that title shot against Danielson. So I'm
or stay with me.
Oh boy, here we go.
This is the craziness. We have Danielson lose to Jack Perry so that we get Danielson Darby too.
Damn.
They combine the titles, and Darby's going against the big title there.
I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, that's crazy. That's not a good crazy. That's like a chaotic evil type of crazy that I don't know I can get behind. Listen, here's the thing. Normally, I'm a messy bitch, right? I love messiness. I live for the drama. But I don't see that going over well. I'm going to be completely honest. And I think that's the problem with this line of logic. If it made sense, then I was like, okay, I could get behind it. But this has there's more cons than pros for me in this one, and not the Tony kind. Like,
Well, that's all I've got for Dynamite then. That's setting us up to go into Rampage and Collision because we're coming to the end of the week. But Alice, you have thoughts, and they're very soggy thoughts about Rampage
Oh yeah, they are.
because someone in your household decided to put the notes down on a wet table. I don't know who it could be. Do not blame the house hippo.
I will fly to your house and we will fight. I know where you live.
This is true. You do. Okay, so we come
Send a glitter
to
bomb to your house.
yeah. So we come to Rampage Friday, August 30th. This Rampage, it didn't really feel like it pushed anything forward really for All Out, which I found kind of disappointing. But as we kind of know, Rampage is just kind of like the fun show. Like, hey, look, let's get everybody on TV. Woohoo! Have as many people as we can. And that is pretty much what we got. We opened with a 3-way tag team match between Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Undisputed Kingdom, and Private Party. This I thought was a good match. For a second there, I thought Private Party was going to win. But then no, they did not win, which made me very sad, but that's okay. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal got the win by submission. They both oh my god, submission for the Undisputed Kingdom.
Yep.
And I believe it was a double submission. Both Jay and Jeff had Matt and the other guy
Mike.
Mike
and Mike and
Eminem.
oh, that's right. They were like, "Don't tap out."
Yeah,
Don't tap out.
They're so good. I don't care what nobody says. I love Matt Taven and Mike Kanellis.
I
Like,
agree. I love them.
Now
Yeah.
that they're not involved with like a championship picture, they can be themselves. It's so much fun to watch them.
so good.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I didn't like them before, and now I feel like every time I see them on, I'm like, I kind of want you to win, guys. Like I'm kind of
Same.
into this.
Same.
Yeah. And then after that, we got I kind of liked this setup. So we were sort of leading up to our main event, which is a 4-way fight. And they, instead of like spots, they had little video packages, just kind of being like, here's the person in the fatal 4-way, and here's like their background, and this is why you should be excited about this person. And I loved that. I felt like that was really fun. So we got that for Takeshita, which was nice because he's kind of been out of the Rampage Collision picture for a little bit.
Been
So
destroying it in Japan.
yeah. So it was like, hey, this is who I am. And also like, I'm in the Don Callis family, and like, I'm the muscle. Don't forget it. And then right after that, we got a Beast Morto spot, which like, wow, what a killer video package they did for him.
Yeah.
Like, please, I want them to, I love that I see him all the time, and I just want more for him. Like, it's so great. So after those two spots, we then got Mina Shirakawa because she's wearing some championship belts now too. So they're kind of bringing her more on Rampage. This is the second time we've seen her in action. So here we saw her in a squash match. But I'm thinking we're building her up to kind of bring her into the Mariah May, Toni Storm picture. What are your thoughts and feelings on that?
I mean, I believe you. I'm right on there with you. I think they're definitely doing everything they can to get her featured enough to be able to be a name in the thing. I don't know whether they're going to put her directly in or whether she's being built up to be the next after Mariah wins it all out. Mm-hmm. So I can't see her immediately jumping in that picture, but I think you're right. She is definitely being put in as an option soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have anything?
Going off of what I had said in our projections video, I feel that a lot of the heavy storytelling lifting in regards to the women's championship and Mariah May and Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa, I believe it's going to happen on Rampage and Collision. The matches might happen on Dynamite, but I feel that the main storyline is going to be happen on Rampage Collision, and I personally feel like this is an example where, look, everyone, it's Mina Shirakawa. I mean, she's been here before, but now she's here again with all of her belts,
Also, her intro is so long.
It's
She
very-
dances for a long time
Yeah.
before
She's really
she
good,
comes
though.
down the ramp.
Yeah.
It's
So-
short for Joshi, but still, I understand.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely. So here's the thing. I do think that Mina is being set up to face Mariah at some point. I don't think she should face her quite yet. I think whoever Mariah, if even Mariah gets to defend her title at All Out, I think we should wait. I think this match between Mina and Mariah, I think deserves to be on one of the big 4 pay-per-views. So if we can find a way to stretch it out, I would love to see Mina and Mariah battle it out at Full Gear. I think that would be fantastic, especially since Mina looks to be officially moved to the United States more permanently now.
At least
So
for a
that's
bit.
the other thing. Yeah, so I do think we get it. I just hope that whoever's going to be booking and writing for the story, we don't just hotshot it. Hey, let's throw it on Wrestle Dream because why not?
Right.
Or if we get it for All Out, I actually might look at AEW more sideways than I normally do, but I digress.
Good. So right after that, we got a Chris and Stokely spot, which was fun. This again is like amping up the Chicago street fight that was announced earlier this week between Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. They're, talking smack, talking about how the conglomeration is terrible. And then Chris Statlander, they get mad at like a staff member.
Yeah.
They're like, I see you. You were shaking your head. You disagree with us. Like, come on over here. And then she, right, attacks the staff member there. Again, really leaning into those heel decisions, right? For Chris, which is working for me personally. This next match was okay.
Yeah.
It was a tag team match between the Grizzled Young Vets and the Outrunners with Erica Lee. I love Erica Lee and the Outrunners, and they are so much fun. This match was pretty obviously to boost the Grizzled Young Vets because they showed up at the end of All In, and now we have to like get them screen time and to show how big and scary they are because grit your teeth. Oh no. Very serious. To build them up as like a credible threat against FTR. You wrote down here the one comment that Tony Schiavone made that really annoyed me. Oh my God. So Erica Lee comes out with them. She's got her hair teased out to hell, right? And I love her whole gimmick. Like, sign me up. I love it.
Textbook 1987.
Yeah.
Circa 1987, 88. Like, look.
And he goes, oh my God, what is she, the Bride of Frankenstein? I'm like,
shut Tony.
Alice,
shut up.
Alice, if I haven't said it enough, your
we go.
impressions of Adolfo are spot on. Like, I don't know how you do it, but it is so nice.
It might be because we're married. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But yeah, so this match was fun.
I'm sad seeing the Outrunners continue to lose on
I
AEW
know.
programming.
They're so much fun, and they're so good at
Yeah.
their job. They're really putting over everybody, and they get the crowd going and everything. I love them so much.
I'm just
Yeah.
mad that our fun tag teams always usually seem to be relegated to just putting other people over. And I'm like,
Yeah.
listen, if you listen to the crowd, the Outrunners, and when we get to Collision, the other fun tag team that we have in this company, I'm just like, obviously it doesn't need to be now, but let them win, have some fun feuds with them.
Yeah.
I want a whole entire and this is talking about another company, but I like fun tag team wrestling. Like if these tag teams are fun in their characters and they organically get over the crowd, we need the belts on either the Outrunners or when we get to Collision MXM Collection, because if the Fashion Police and WWE proved anything, comedy tag team characters can actually work as champions if they are booked right.
Yep.
So I'm just tired of the fun campy teams always being used as cannon fodder, and that makes me upset.
And I want a silly wrestling feud. I want that. Like I want to see this. I am very sad that they keep like teasing that might happen, or I'm imagining it, and that's probably true. And then they just, all they're doing is like losing to other people.
Yeah, and I felt like in this match, for what the grizzled young veterans were going for, they could have just hired, local talent A and B to do the thing.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to do that to the Outrunners.
I get that we have to, in their first match in AEW, well, not their first match, but the first match in this rotation for grizzled young vets. I know we have to have them win their first match, but I feel that you could have not have picked. I want to word this carefully, because easy target is not what I want to go for, because the Outrunners are not an easy target. They make themselves an easy target, but they're truly not. I feel that having grizzled young vets, instead of going for our fun campy teams, you could have put them against, I don't even want to say mid-card, but you have tag teams that are consistent in the ring that are not our fun teams that you could have put them up against, that I feel like a loss to them wouldn't be too bad. Now, granted, I don't know who that would have been. You could have put a Top Flight against them, and like that was the thing that could have happened. Grizzled young vets versus Top Flight. Not only would you be able to accomplish putting the grizzled young vets over, but you continue to show, Dante and Darius, as a solidified tag team. And you know what? That would have been fun. But no, AEW's, when we get a new tag team, the first thing they do is they use the fun tag teams that everybody loves as cannon fodder. It makes me mad.
Yeah.
Or you could have had a super aggro match and had the grizzled young veterans against the Gates of Agony.
Oh my gosh, that'd be fantastic too. That would have been great. Just
There'd be-
anybody but
there'd
our
be-
fun
there'd be
tag
so
team.
much- I'm angry. I break your teeth.
But again, unless you are
Right.
FTR or the Bugs, like that seems to be the upper echelon of tag team wrestling in AEW, and we need new faces. But I digress.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. After that, we got our Commander video package. He is the third member of the Fatal 4-Way that's coming up as the main event. Again, this was really fun. I loved seeing. I was like, "Oh my god, look at them go!" I love it. I wanted to cheer for everybody. Anyway, next was Nyla Rose in action with, I believe, local talent Amina Belmont. Nyla Rose is always fun. I like watching her.
She's fantastic. I just wish that AEW would do what ROH did in her feud with Athena and just let her be this crazy monster, but also be hilarious when it comes to it. But Nyla just gets booked right now in AEW just to rack up wins and squash. So I want to see Nyla in a proper feud. I think she has been in this company long enough, and she has done enough and has earned a couple more accolades than people give her credit for. Let's give her something to do instead of just racking up wins through squash matches. Like, honestly, even if it's for her to lose, because, realistically, I would like to see Nyla go after the TBS championship, because right now Nyla and Hikaru are being used to, this is a temporary match. We don't have a proper feud for the next challenger since we're done with this feud for a little bit. So let's throw our reliable girls in here. And Shida and Nyla always get picked. And those are fantastic choices because they are both good. But there is no substance behind it. I would love to see Nyla go up against Mercedes Moné in a feud where it's like Mercedes is anything and everything. And realistically, I want this feud to happen. So Mercedes like, okay, you want this match? You got to beat Camille first. You cannot tell me Nyla versus Camille would not slap. Like those
that
two
would be incredible.
Yeah.
Just let those two beefy women just fight each other. Like put that on a pay-per-view and not 0 Hour, Tony Khan.
Please
But of
not
course,
0 Hour.
Please not.
Yeah.
But as the professor says, if it makes sense, they won't do it.
Okay. Then we get our last spot before the final fatal four-way, which was Leo Rush. And then we get our fun fatal four-way with Takeshita, the Beast Mortos, Commander, and Leo Rush. We also got Don Callis at the desk, and I don't know what is happening, but suddenly Don Callis is excellent on commentary, and I don't understand where this came from.
It's like when you give his group and a character a direction, they can actually know what they're doing. That's crazy. And I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of weird because Rampage also has like Daddy Magic and this weird conglomeration of people
Yes.
on the commentary
Yeah.
team. I feel like Daddy Magic doesn't get enough credit. I was like, he's actually kind of good on commentary. I like Daddy
He's
Magic
very
on
good
commentary.
on commentary. I don't want him in the ring anymore. Leave him on commentary. You know, that's how I feel about that. But I loved this match. This was the match of the night for me.
Same.
I loved that we had the Beast Mortos and Takeshita kind of doing like they were mirroring each other with moves, and same thing with Commander and Leo Rush. They were mirroring each other. That was really fun. It was so exciting to see a match with essentially 3 luchadors in it, because I'm counting Leo Rush because he's a top flyer. He moves himself around a lot. And the reaction that we got from the crowd was so positive for having all of those luchadors in a main event.
It's crazy.
Very exciting.
And you know, normally I hate when our luchadors lose in these types of matches because they never seem to pick up a win. But for me, it makes sense for Takeshita to win this match because he's been gone for the last month and a half because he's been killing it in the G1.
Yep.
I legit thought we were going to see Takeshita, a New Japan wrestler, make it to the finals, but he just barely lost in the semifinals against his opponent. And I was like, oh, Takeshita versus Zack Sabre Jr. would have been a great final. But Takeshita pretty much almost made it to the end of the G1 tournament. And having that confidence coming into this match, it definitely showed. Now, AEW, all I need you to do is continue to build Takeshita. And if not by the end of the year, by the beginning of 2025, can we finally put a title on this man? Let's put a title on Takeshita. I feel like he's earned it at this point.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
This match was amazing, and it made me smile because I was just like, lots of wrestling this past weekend, and I'm glad for a majority of it. It was fantastic. So thank you, this main eventer Rampage. So good. And showcase your luchadors more like this.
Exactly. I agree. The only thing that I felt was like a little bit of a downer about this match is that like it didn't really like whoever won, it was like, yay.
We could have turned this last minute into a number 1 contenders match.
Right? Like that's what I was hoping it would be.
Yeah.
Right? A number 1 contenders match. But it wasn't. But it was still nice to see. Yay.
It's fantastic. Thank you, Alice, for leading us through Rampage.
Oh, wait, no. Do the MXN.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to talk about those two when we get to Collision. Like, I'm so...
Okay, so this brings us to Collision for August 31st, and we start the show off, I thought, very strong, because we had the conglomerations, Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly, teaming up with Hologram versus Tiger Style, Lee Moriarty, the Beast Mortos again, and Johnny TV. This was a fun match. When you look at it on paper, you knew that Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and Hologram were going to win. But they all worked really well together. It was a very exciting first match. It's what a beginning match should be. Spoilers, Hologram ends up with the win for his team by pinning Johnny TV, coming off of a Spanish fly. but you know, there were a bunch of other great spots. You know, you had like this whole 5-man submission setup thing going, and
That
then the
was
Beast
my favorite
Mortos
moment.
comes in and shoulders the crap out of everyone.
It's like dominoes, they all fell.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the pop that Hologram was getting outside of Texas.
Yeah.
Which makes me feel that the character is working.
I felt like
However,
that was promising. Very excited.
yeah. However, it brings up the question: you have Hologram now is 6-0. We're now starting to get in the territory of what do we start doing with Hologram? You know, and who will he lose to? So after that, we got the John Moxley looking for
Here's
Darby.
what you missed on Dynamite.
Yep, exactly.
These recaps kill me.
Yeah.
I'm so
Although-
glad you're at least hearing this stuff, though. That's the nice part.
Right, and I will say though, the way like Alice said, the way that they put it together was short, concise, and just gave you like the highlights. So if you didn't watch Dynamite, you saw what you needed to see, and you're up to date. So I appreciate that they're going in that direction instead of like doing weird, like long drawn out pre-taped spots or something like that, you know? So that was that. Next match was another great match where we had the Bang Bang Gang versus the Premier Athletes.
This was a great match.
I thought it was because I thought it was because I always find it interesting when the heels get healed on. And that's what we had at the beginning of this match, where the Premier Athletes out-healed the Bang Bang Gang. And it was almost as if the Bang Bang Gang was your face, because they didn't do their usual, like, underhanded things, you know? Austin Gunn got lumped up for a while until he did this really nice hip toss. It was nice seeing the Guns actually wrestling. So that, and
This is trying so hard.
so that was good. Your winners in this match was the Bang Bang Gang and Juice Robinson. So
Of course it was.
It
Of
was
course
no
it was.
surprise.
To nobody shock.
Yeah.
Right.
So, okay, Adolfo, we're going to put it pause in this real quick because we got to run this back. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think this was a pretty fun match. If you don't have an investment of one of the Premier Athletes, because I hate that the Premier Athletes keep losing, but I hate the fact that now we have thrown Josh Woods into this losers mix, and that's what makes me the most upset about this whole entire team. I don't like seeing Josh Woods get pinned. Arya Daivari can get pinned. Like, I don't really have an investment in him. Tony Nese is still on the fence with me, but Josh Woods taking the pin here makes me more upset than anything. Like, we avoided him trying to be pinned, and unfortunately, now that he has, all three members of the Premier Athletes have been tainted. You couldn't do anything with them in ROH. They continue to get jobbed out on AEW television. I don't remember a time when they actually picked up a win at any point within the last couple of months. And while the in-ring was fine, and again, I think that the Guns do definitely, their 310 to Yuma finisher is definitely a lot cleaner than it was when they started. The one they did at Wembley is by far the cleanest I've ever seen, and I love that one. But where do we go with the Bang Bang Gang? Like, that's my biggest question. Like, this was a match to have a match, and normally that's fine. It's just that with no stakes or, direction of where we take them next is what frustrates me with all of this. So I think in ring, it was pretty decent, but I also grade it with where we go next for them. And I don't see a direction right now because everybody's off doing their own thing right now. Maybe we'll get it after All Out, but we'll see what happens. So it was okay. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, you see, and that's where I disagree. I'm okay. You know what? Because they just came off of their big end of storyline match at All Out, So yeah, let them just wrestle.
So let them lose.
Not against the premier athletes.
Why not?
Because
why?
they're the Bang Bang Gang.
So?
Adolfo, I think what's happening is we're just in a holding pattern with the Bang Bang Gang because we are waiting for a certain Switchblade to come back from injury. And
Who?
I think that's, yeah.
Yeah.
Who? Mr. Jay White. AEW has not done. This man has not gotten a great booking since coming to this company. It hurts.
You know, Mike, you know who I'm waiting for to come back to the Bang Bang game?
Who?
Cardblade. That's
Yes,
the guy
Cardblade.
Cardblade.
Why did we
Yes.
stop bringing out the cardboard versions of people? Like, I don't understand. That was great.
I know. Yeah.
Anyways, Adolfo, continue.
All right. So then we got the NJPW Capital Collision Mercedes Moné spot where I said it was the better of the spots compared to the Dynamite spot. And that was that. I already talked about that. Then we got a video package for Hikaru Shida talking up the 4-way women's match for the #1 contender spot. Who the winner of the match was going to wrestle Mercedes Moné at All Out.
Which we did not know until this moment.
Yup. Surprise!
Haha.
They didn't promote it as such until until it aired.
Yeah.
Then we got an all-in Von Erich video package.
This was weird. This felt
Did
out
there
of
like
place.
remember when this happened? Was that so cool when that happened?
Yeah.
We were in London. Did you know we were in London?
What?
This was such a
Yeah.
weird. This was a weird one. I was just like, "What is happening? Like, what? Why? Like, huh?"
And
I was like-
thankfully it wasn't a long spot. It was short, but yeah, it was like, what?
Why are you
So-
on my AEW television? You are the
Right.
ROH like 6-man tag team champs. Why are you on my AEW screen right now?
Exactly. So then we got another tag team match where we got FTR versus the Undisputed Kingdom. And
oh my god.
this was
So
I'm going to
good.
say it again. This was a great match.
This I will agree with
Get
you.
bent.
Damn. You know what, Adolfo? You take a chill pill, bro. I'm not coming after you.
No, that's me.
Yes.
You know, FTR and Undisputed Kingdom, they're both great workers, and they're great workers that work great together. You know, for the longest time in this match, I didn't. There was no like clear who's gonna win. You know, FTR does pick up the win in this. And then you have your grizzled young fish and chip eaters. They come out and they beat down FTR. And I say that because up to this point, they just seemed like carbon copy angry white boys to me. Right?
How dare you?
Until they actually had this spot where they I don't know which one of the grizzled young veterans it was, but he was like, we've been wrestling and everyone has and we've been wrestling under your shadow, and we don't want to be in your shadow anymore. We're going to wrestle to be out of your shadow.
Probably Zach.
That's what I needed
That
from
makes
them.
It's probably Zach, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Zach Gibson.
That's what I needed from them. You know, like I kind of wish we got this the first time they jumped FTR, or maybe like in some promo spot, because literally like up to this point, they were just carbon copy angry white boy tag team to me. So
I'm gonna forgive you for that one because you haven't seen enough of Grizzled Young Vets, so I will forgive you as a personal fan and stan of theirs. And also, they are not fish and chips. You call them by their right title. They are the gay James and Jesse of Pokemon. Okay, there is a video out there of them dressing like Jesse and James or Pokemon in a wrestling match. It is the best thing on the planet. I'm happy to see that GYV is getting built up strong. I do think GYV versus FTRs. There can only be one team with acronyms in this company, so I'm excited for it. And you know what? I've seen some people like not like FTR getting beat up. I was like, I'm okay if FTR Burt Reynolds and FTR acquitted of charges is going to get beat up by GYV. So I think this is going to be a fun feud. But I'm also a little confused because they're going back and forth between FTR and the Bucks, it seems like, because they had that freak on Dynamite with the Bucks, and now they're going after FTR. So I would not be surprised if we see GYV and FTR in All Out to either have a match or they'll probably make it number one contenders, which I'm like, roll my eyes at. But then the biggest problem comes if it does end up a number one contender, what happens to the Acclaim? Because they didn't get pinned in that match.
Right. Exactly. I'm okay. I think it'd be great if we had Fish and Chips versus FTR. At All Out, and maybe not even on the main card, maybe in the 0 hour, right? But yeah, please don't make
it. They don't do 0 hour.
Please don't make it a number one contenders match. We don't, like you said, we don't need that. The Acclaimed. Please, can we put them in their number one contender spot and let this story? Because now I'm interested in this whole Grizzled Young Vets. See, I call them by their name. Now I'm interested in the Grizzled Young Vets. So let's let this story develop
and marinate. I give you the Orange Cassidy. Yeah, I give you the Orange Cassidy thumbs up.
Right. But I will ask, and we're gonna make this a lightning round for the three of you. Is there any salvaging the Undisputed Kingdom at this point? Roddy Strong is meh. Wardlow has been MIA along with Adam Cole. So, which at the beginning of the year, it kind of looked like Undisputed Kingdom was like the endgame BBEG. You know what I mean? And now it's just kind of like, so what do we think? I'm gonna start with JVL. You have 1 minute and go.
We've seen the pieces of the Undisputed Kingdom work better without each other. However, they've been building to this thing with Kyle O'Reilly. They're trying to put more stuff together, and they're filling time for Adam Cole, I guess, to keep healing up. The problem is they don't have an end date for that, so how can you actually salvage them if you don't have a direction for any of them? I think the need needs to be that they need to break up and go their own ways while keeping little nuggets here and there of we still are friends, so that when Adam Cole is healthy again to come back as the head of this thing and bring them back together as like some weird Avengers level group to take on the Bucks and the Elite, that's fine. But no, they don't need to salvage this. Let it disparately go off into the ether and be its own thing.
Okay. Mikey. And go.
Mine's going to be super simple. I agree with JVL in the sense I feel that there is no salvaging it because this story has been dropped, beaten, battered, bruised, deep fried, like all the adjectives you could describe of just being nuked to all hell. Adam Cole getting injured definitely threw a wrench into plans, which is very unfortunate. But at the same time, like, you have had too many people go up against the Undisputed Kingdom, and they're not a credible threat. I don't see them as a credible threat because they didn't know what to do with them. So no, there is no salvaging them. I think Roddy and the Undisputed Kingdom as the tag team with Mike and Matt, just keep them separate. If you want to do something different where they try to recruit Kyle, cool. But there is no salvaging. Adam Cole, who knows when he's coming back, and Wardlow has been MIA for who knows how long. Which kind of sucks because he gives great hugs. But I don't know. Right. That's it. No.
Yeah.
Okay. And Alice, ready, go.
Okay, do we even need to salvage them? No, I don't think so. Roddy's meh. Just have him be a singles, do his own thing. And you can have the tag team just be the Undisputed Kingdom. And that's it.
All right, there we go. So then this brings us to the Thunder Rosa spot for the 4-way women's number one contender thing. And then commercial. And then when we get back from commercial, we hear a lot of meat slapping, which turned out to be Dark Lance Archer beating on plebes. And then he snarls.
Which I thought was a commercial still.
Right.
What are we doing with Lance Archer?
To which he turns to the camera and snarls.
I was like, all right, Snaggletooth, calm down. Like, what is happening? I'm like, I don't care enough about Lance Archer right now. They have dragged this character into the ground, and I don't care. There's no direction. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'm over it.
I feel that he is so much better as white Lance Archer with the
Righteous.
Help me out.
Righteous?
With the righteous over in ROH. Just make him a trios. Make him a trios. I feel like they work so much better.
No.
Lance Archer does not add to any group he's put in. He doesn't add to himself. He needs to be on his own island as this thing that just gets trotted out once in a while. Leave the righteous alone. They're better without him.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, Dark Lance Archer isn't working either. So there we go.
Maybe Lance Archer isn't working.
Period.
However, this was made up because we got in our next match, we got Top Flight with Action Andretti and Leo Rush all wearing the same uniform under this whole Top Flight umbrella. Layla Gray coming in with her flight attendant outfit and the directional sticks against the Iron Savages, Jack Jameson, and Turbo Floyd. All I have to say about this match is justice for Turbo Floyd.
Right.
Justice for Turbo Floyd. Every time he tried to tag in, the Iron Savages and Jack Jameson kept pushing him out. I didn't like it. Not one bit. No, sir. Didn't like it.
We don't like having Jack Jameson. Maybe we put Lance Archer with Jack Jameson, and that could be a good thing to send them off.
Absolutely not. Somebody's going to get hurt from it.
Suffice to say, the Top Flight, Action Andretti, and Leo Rush end up with the W. Then we get a spot with Queen Aminata and Serena D being interviewed by Lexi Nair. And they're talking about the match that's coming up because they're participating in the 4-way. And do they have an alliance? Serena Deeb tosses it up to Queen Aminata. The way Serena Deeb delivered the line, it felt like she was kind of being heely. But, that was that. This led us into our next match where we had Kyle Fletcher in his luchador gear. Very nice indeed. Versus Tomohiro Ishii. And this was a great match.
This was Ishii killing it. Kyle Fletcher continues to be amazing. Like,
yup.
This is a solid match.
About this now, like, there's no reason to be surprised that Kyle Fletcher is amazing.
Oh my gosh, for real.
But this goes along with what you said earlier on Dynamite, how Ishii is great at selling, and he pulled a lot of tricks out of his bag this match that I've never seen him do. He tried a top rope Hurricane Rana. You know what I mean? Like, which is already in and of itself ridiculous, right? Let's settle down here, Ishii. Okay, you know what I mean? Kyle Fletcher does come up with the win. This was a great match, though. If you get a few minutes and you haven't seen Collision, try to find it on YouTube. The Kyle Fletcher Tomohiro Ishii match, definitely worth a rewatch.
And Don Callis was on commentary for this also.
Yep.
And again, another day where I loved him on commentary.
What is going on?
What is going on? What is going on?
So then the this next section of Collision was just a bunch of spots. So we had Queen Aminata video package, short package, not a problem. Went to commercial, came back. Hey, did y'all know that Bryan Danielson, Jack Perry are wrestling at All Out?
What?
No, what?
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah, no.
News to me.
You know, video package said so. So,
Huh.
and then we. What was that?
It's just weird.
Weird. And then we had a Pac spot where he was being interviewed by Lexi Nair.
This was funny. Okay. This was very funny.
Because
I love Pac
is
so
not
much.
content. I love his overpronunciation of everything.
He's not content.
Content. And his hair is like his 5 strands of hair are all in his face. So he wants to wrestle Ospreay like yesterday, but it's not happening. So it looks like on Dynamite we're getting the Blackpool Combat Club and Pac, or the Pac Pool Combat Club versus Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and Will Ospreay.
That actually should be a really good match. Not gonna lie.
It will be a really good match. But like, are we gonna start like handing out like honorary member of conglomeration T-shirts?
Oh,
All these
Jesus.
people.
I would want one.
It should be pins.
It should be pins.
This brings us to our next match, which was Buddy Matthews versus Commander. What a great match!
God, I was so excited. This match ruled.
Yeah, like when I saw this on paper, I thought it was just going to be a straight up, just like squash match. Dare I say squatch match? But it was surprisingly competitive. And there were a few minutes where I was like, oh, Commander is actually going to get a win here. What is going on? He didn't.
No, but it made you believe.
But it made us believe. Yeah, no, it was a hard fought fight. Buddy Matthews wins. Brody King comes out to celebrate with him. But wait, all of a sudden on the Jumbotron, the MXM collection comes onto the Jumbotron.
Oh my gosh, so good.
And challenges these demonic dipsticks to a Friday night fashion fight.
I'm so excited.
Oh my god, I am so okay. So immediately, okay, JBL, if there's only one match that you watch that is outside of Dynamite, it needs to be this one, because the fact the juxtaposition of House of Black and MXM collection colliding is super fantastic. I am here for the nonsense. MXM are probably gonna lose, but that is okay.
That is okay.
It is so weird. The characters of these two teams are on such opposite ends of the wrestling spectrum. Like, this is what I mean when I say sometimes wrestling just needs good camp. Like, that is what we need. I was like, the juxtaposition of the brooding and of the House of Black versus the very metrosexual, queer-coded MXM collections. Like, I am so. And we're far enough in. I'm gonna drop my one curse word. I am fucking excited. Like, holy crap, I'm so excited.
The only way this match could be better is if there is some sort of stipulation to the Friday night fashion fight that like the winner has to have a makeover by the other team or something.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And they have to do the runway.
Oh my god.
I'm waiting for like the video package where MXN goes to like Hot Topic to get in the mindset.
Yes.
Tony Khan, you got money to show certain clothing store brands. Like, oh, I don't care. I hope it's probably just a one and done thing, but I don't care. I am looking forward to this next week. I am so excited.
Yep. Then we got our Serena Deeb video spot commercial. Then we got our announcement for Nyla Rose versus Mariah May on Dynamite on Wednesday.
Which is weird, but okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
But like this circles back to what we were saying before. It's like we're not really sure what to do right now. So quick, grab Nyla or Hikaru Shida and we've got it.
Yeah. So, but this did bring us to our main event, which was Hikaru Shida, Serena Deeb, Queen Aminata, and Thunder Rosa, all for a spot to wrestle against Mercedes Moné in All Out.
Oh my gosh, a women's match in the main event?
women's
That's
match in the main event?
crazy. Oh my gosh.
Collision,
And it was
no
given
less.
more than 10 minutes? What?
Europe.
That's
Went over
wild.
TV time. How about?
That's wild. I can't believe that. It's such a profound thought to let women main event your TV show. Who
Right?
would have thunk it?
Right. So, it was another great match. Hikaru Shida came out swinging. Queen Aminata was looking strong and just continues, like, every time I see her, just like getting better and getting better and getting better. It was so good. Serena Deeb, this is the first match that I've actually enjoyed watching Serena Deeb wrestle. She looked really strong. And Thunder Rosa just looked brutal. And I mean that in a great way. She was tossing people and laying some fucking lumber of hits on people. Yes, please. Give me that, Thunder Rosa.
Oh my goodness.
She's been there all along.
Yeah.
I just
She just
it's
needs
been
the
good.
right opponent. That's like my big thing with her the last couple of matches she's had. She needs the right opponent who will bring that out of her.
Yeah. The one thing that stuck out in my mind though was Serena Deeb delivered this powerbomb onto Thunder Rosa that looked really ugly. I'm happy that Thunder Rosa actually was able to move afterwards, but I wouldn't be surprised if she went back on the injury list for a little bit because of it. Spoilers: Hikaru Shida did win, so we are getting Mercedes Moné and Hikaru Shida in All Out
Part two.
I'm excited, but I'm also sad. Right.
So, my question is this: Hikaru Shida Part 2, Hikaru Shida Mercedes Moné Part 2. Does Hikaru have a chance of winning the belt? Or is
I
just another?
I would like to, but she's not going to. And I think there's two reasons why. Number one, like we talked about earlier, Hikaru and Nyla are in this spot where they have the accolades. Lest we forget, Hikaru is a 3-time AEW Women's World Champion. Like, she has held that belt 3 times.
Yep.
And she, I believe, and JVL, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Hikaru is the first to reach 3 championship reigns, right? So she holds the record for the most reigns. She's the first, and I think she has the most title reigns of, the women's division. I would love to see her win, but she's not going to, because number one, she's unfortunately, and I use the word nicely when I say enhancement, because she's a reliable hand, and that's what she's going to be in this match. She's just a reliable hand to face Mercedes. And number two, the other thing is that Shida doesn't have anyone in her corner, because Camille is going to get involved and shenanigans are going to happen. Because honestly, on paper, Shida should be able to beat the tar out of Mercedes Moné. Like, on paper, if it was a straight up one-on-one match, there is no reason outside of shenanigans and tomfoolery that Mercedes beats Shida. But because Camille is there, Camille is definitely going to be the equalizer. So those are my 2 reasons. I want her to win. I really do, but they're not going to let her, and that makes me sad.
And I think part of this, I'm looking forward to this more than I was looking forward to the match between Moné and Britt Baker at All In, because, and I think that Moné, because one of the things we discussed is that they didn't necessarily trust each other, and I think Mercedes and Hikaru Shida have a more established trust between the two of them, and I think it'll be a good match. So I'm wondering if it's like a way for them to be like, hey guys, remember, Mercedes Moné can wrestle. We promise.
There. Yeah. JBL, please give me comments.
I don't know what else I can add to this at this point, because you're right. The whole thing of putting in there is to have Sheeta wrestle Monet to show that she can wrestle. The problem is that Sheeta also, I don't think Sheeta has the background with her either. She's got a background with Britt, which they're not going to use because she's been basically removed from all things anyways. But Sheeta's the person you pull out there to have that match to showcase, oh, this is our title holder. They can actually do stuff, and I don't know if she's going to. Mercedes can wrestle when she feels like she wants to, or she feels that she can. And I don't know if she's been incentivized in AEW to do so, or let off the leash enough to do so. And she spent too much time trying to get over all the bits of her versus actually concentrating on making matches good.
Yeah.
All right. And that was your collision for this past Saturday night.
Cool. So, I'm going to tag myself in Adolfo. So I think what we'll do first is we'll do final ratings.
Wait. Oop. Just a tip.
Just the tip. Okay. We're going to tag in with just the tip.
All right. There we go.
There we go. So before we get into what we have to finish up with this particular review, let's give this week's AEW some final empanada ratings. So I will go first. I definitely think, and yes, I'm biased in saying this, MXM and House of Black probably pushed Collision over the edge, like way up there for my favorite show of the week. But I do think that Collision overall was stronger. I think Dynamite was pretty good. Rampage was okay up until the main event, which then was like, oh, this is pretty good. I love this. I'm going to give AEW programming like a solid 7 out of 10 for me this week, all combined. I think it was pretty good. Definitely a lot stronger than we've seen in the last couple of weeks. So it gives me hope, and I shouldn't be hopeful, but I do think that this week was great. And you know what? I hate the 2-week build to All Out, but hey, you know what? We got like half the card cranked out right now, and we're probably this week we'll be getting more matches before our Saturday show. I'm just looking more forward to watching it with everybody on Saturday. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. So AEW gets 7 out of 10 for me this week. And JVL, go.
Also 7 out of 10. Look, when they have their back up against the wall, they can actually book well, which is surprising. Maybe we should keep that energy going forward. And also not just use our women as placeholders for things.
And we have Team A&A. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first because he can't make a choice. Decision. Sure. Those are words I said. I'm going to give it a 7. I liked, I didn't watch Dynamite, but Rampage was so much fun. And Collision was good this week. So I'm going to give it a solid 7.
I'm going to give this week's AEW 8 out of 10.
Ooh.
I feel that this has been one of the most solid weeks leading into a pay-per-view in recent history. I thought that all the shows had good wrestling, really good wrestling. I thought all the spots were contained in what they needed to be to tell what they needed to tell. 8 out of 10.
Cool. Love it. Alrighty. So now, normally this is where we would wrap up for the evening. However, because again, we will not be reviewing the go-home shows until after they happen, we're going to do our all-out predictions for this one. Again, I said this last year, at least this is 2 weeks this year, but it's still not enough time because last year was literally just back-to-back weekends. But with the card that we have right now, we are going to make our predictions, but everybody in the AEW league will get the final format probably Friday night, Saturday morning, once Collision and Rampage have aired before All Out. So we'll get that.
Once everything's settled.
Yeah, once everything has settled for it. So we're just going to make predictions on the matches that we have. The best way I could describe All Out is this is going to be a very safe pay-per-view when it comes to matches. I think we can all pretty much tell who's going to win. And, who knows? AEW surprises us, and sometimes good, sometimes bad, so we'll see. But let us begin. We're going to start with the match that was made first for All Out, which is for the AEW International Championship. We have Will Ospreay, who just got the title back from MJF and, throughout the American Championship and returned it to the AEW International Championship. And he will be facing the Bastard Pac. Now, Pac won a fatal 4-way not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, before All In. And this is where we get this match. This match is going to slap. This match is going to be amazing. I am going to start first with predictions. I think this is this is easy to pick. Will Ospreay, I don't think, is losing that title after just getting it in Wembley. But again, AEW can, do things that I didn't ask them to. But I am going to go with Will Ospreay for this one. And that is what I'm going to settle with. So, JBL, who do you got for this one?
I also have Ospreay for this one. I think it's going to be a hell of a match, but I don't think Pac's getting his moment in Chicago.
Adolfo.
Ospreay.
Easy enough. And Alice.
I'm also Ospreay.
Cool. Sweet. So that was easy. So we move on from our next match that was announced on the card. And again, this is the one that could go 50-50 for me. In a steel cage match, we have Yeah, so steel cage match, we have angry Hangman Adam Page versus, am I a heel or a tweener, Swerve Strickland. I also think this is going to be one hell of a match. I don't know if it'll get to the levels of Texas Death Match that we saw between these two, but because it's a steel cage, who flipping knows? This is 50-50 for me, and okay, this is going to probably bite me in the ass, but after discussing everything, I'm going to go with Swerve Strickland on this one. I think the idea, now that I thought about it, having Swerve continue to get one over on Hangman Page makes me actually kind of dig it. And there are fun ways to write this story. So I'm going to go with Swerve Strickland because Hangman can never win one against Swerve. So I've lost faith in him when it comes to fighting Swerve. And then watch, he ends up winning this one and then I'm going to be all mad. But I'm going to go with Swerve Strickland on this one. I'm going to work in reverse order this time. So Alice, in our steel cage match, who you got winning?
I think I'm gonna go for Adam Page, actually. The Hangman.
The Hangry Man.
The Hangry Man. Angry Hangman. Hangers. It's fantastic. Adolfo.
Swerve.
And finally, JVL.
Swerve, because Hangman tries to shoo away help from the Elite and ends up costing him.
Ooh.
Also, can I just add, however this match ends, Swerve disappears for like a week, 2 weeks, so he can actually have a vacation because he fucking deserves it.
For real. This man has been carrying the AEW World Championship scene since April because he beat Joe at Dynasty in April.
Yup.
Cool. So we move on from our steel cage match. Now, this one is just a straight up singles match, but there is some animosity between this. We have MJF versus Daniel Garcia. I love that Daniel Garcia on the ring. It was hilarious to me to hear all that go down. But
Daniel Gracias.
So again, this is one of the few matches where there's one person who I feel like needs to win, but again, it can go either way. Again, I went against the grain for Swerve and Hangman, but I'm going to go with my heart with this one. I'm going to pick Daniel Garcia to win, especially in the way that MJF left Daniel Garcia basically bleeding all over the place. Last time we saw Danny, I think Danny should get one, but again, MJF can pull, some shenanigans to win, and we get the continuation of this feud. But for my heart, I'm going to go with Daniel Garcia. JBL, who you got with this one?
Garcia as well.
Sweet. Adolfo.
Daniel Garcia. I feel MJF losing is the best way to forward along MJF's story.
It's more fun to watch him lose sanity points. It's fantastic. And finally, Alice.
I also have Daniel Garcia winning because I think that's more interesting in MJF's storyline.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see the professor's picks. I think those are going to be fun to look at when I put this all together. So next up, again, because the internet hasn't officially give this like the cool graphic that everybody else has, so I had to take, the long version of the graphic and try to cut it in a way that makes sense. But even though it's not on this picture, this is a Chicago street fight, which is going to be for the CMLL World Women's Championship, which, again, should be defended in Mexico, but I'm not mad at the two participants we got. So Willow won her 0-hour match at Wembley, so she chose a Chicago street fight as the stipulation. It hurts my heart, but again, with Willow winning, it it wouldn't make sense for her to win because Chris has never won against Willow, except for when she won with Stokely's help. But Chris has always been on the losing side to Willow since she turned heel. And I think this is where we actually see it. I don't want Willow to lose the championship, but I'm going to go with Chris on this one. I feel like Chris needs this win more than Willow because, again, Chris has yet to get a win outside of one time against Willow. So I'm going to go with Chris Statlander on this one. Alice, who you got for the CMLL Women's World Championship? It's Chicago Street Fight Edition.
Chris Statlander.
Adolfo?
Willow Nightingale, because I have to see Willow Nightingale versus Persephone in Mexico City for the CMLL Women's Championship.
That is very true. Also, by the way, like as much as I don't want Willow to lose the title, either one of these two women versus any of the Amazonas and CMLL like is money.
I mean, fair.
That's fantastic. But I do want to see Willow because I think she'd be great. And then finally, JVL, who you got winning the Chicago Street Fight?
Give me Stat. Give me Stokely.
It's fantastic. So after our Chicago Street Fight, we have our AEW World Championship match. We have Bryan Danielson, Bryan, all of the Bryan Danielson's Bryan, defending his newly minted one AEW World Championship against the scapegoat, Jack Perry.
Who?
Again, this is another easy one for me. I don't see Jack Perry being the one to dethrone Danielson, so I'm picking Bryan Danielson to retain his AEW World Championship. JVL, who you got in this match?
The Agent of Chaos in me wants Jack Perry to win this. It's so bad.
Stop it.
You know what? Screw it. If I have to wear a onesie for it, I'm going Jack Perry.
Hell yeah. This is going to be fantastic. Watch him win it. And then, like, again, AEW is so unpredictable. We can do really good or really bad. Adolfo, who you got walking out as the world champion?
You know, you're going to have to make that two onesies because I'm going to go with Jack Perry.
Well, damn. Alice is like, really? Alrighty. Alice, who do you have walking out as champion on this one?
Bryan Danielson.
Sweet. So 2-2, and Professor will end up being the tiebreaker, however way he goes. So the final match that we have announced so far is for the TBS Championship and is the most recent match that was added to the All Out card. We have Mercedes Moné, probably with Camille at her side, defending her TBS Championship against Hikaru Shida, who won the Fatal 4-Way on Collision that we just talked about. It hurts me to say this because I never want to root against my girl Shida, but again, this is an easy one for me. Monet is retaining because, you know, Monet makes money, I guess. Whatever. Fine. Sure. Whatever. It hurts me to say it, but I'm going with Mercedes Moné to retain the championship because she doesn't have anyone in her corner. And it makes me sad. Anyways, Alice, who you got as our walking out with the TBS championship?
I'm going to go with Hikaru Shida because I want her to have it.
Listen, if we manifest it hard enough, it's going to have to happen at some point. And this is the one match I will be okay if I'm wrong. I would love to see Shida win and get treated better with another championship reign. Adolfo, who's walking out with this championship?
I'm just doing this just to pad my win-loss record. I'm going to go with Mercedes Moné. Not because I want to, just because, you know, that feels like the bet.
Sure.
Again, AEW is predictable because we fluctuate who's in first and who's in last. And then JVL, currently sitting at the bottom of the leaderboard, but not for long. Who you got walking out as TBS champion?
Mercedes.
We love it. We really, really do. And that is going to be the end of our all-out predictions. Once again, we don't know what the rest of the card is. We don't know what's going to be on 0 Hour. Probably matches that don't matter, but are still going to be fun to watch. But that is going to be it for us here at All Elite Ensemble. So thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back next week talking about, well, two things. On Monday next week, we will be doing the All Out review. We're having a live watch along this upcoming Saturday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. So come join us. It's going to be a fantastic time. We've done some watch-alongs before. We did it for GCW Bloodsport and night 1 of GCW Homecoming, and those were a lot of fun. So come join us for All Out this Saturday, and then check out our review of All Out on Monday. And then we'll see what happens with AEW, because we might do something like we did last week where we talk about where are we going next. So that should be fun. But from all of us here at All Elite Ensemble and the rest of the BC WrestlePod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, but more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you next week for the All Out review. But until then, sayonara, adios, and we'll catch you next time. Billy Starks Outro. Bleh.